Nothing is ever good enough for the activists that have tried to take over the gaming industry, and now the brand new RoboCop Rogue City game that came out is getting absolutely praised by fans who are saying it is a fantastic title, but journalist hacks are saying that it's bad because it is too faithful to the original material. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. I cannot stand these people, okay? Nothing is ever good enough for them. They always find something to complain about, and now the best attack that they have against this RoboCop game that fans are loving is that it's a throwback that is simply too faithful for its own good. This is a Eurogamer article. I, of course, am using an archive because there is no way I am giving them my clicks, and they gave this game a 3 out of 5. They say that it blends bloody linear shootouts with light open-world action for an entertaining RoboCop experience, and they actually give this game quite a lot of praise, which makes no sense why they would simply give it a 3 out of 5. Like, from their review, it should be a 4 out of 5 because they're saying it's too good for RoboCop fans. Like, that is why you're giving it a bad score? It's just so absurd. Now, this is a very long article, and I don't want to sit here and read all of it because they like to repeat themselves a lot in this. Like, they have multiple sections basically rewording the thing that they said in the previous paragraph. Honestly, it comes across as a very AI written article, which wouldn't surprise me if it was. But just, briefly mentioning what they're saying, RoboCop Rogue City would have been the absolute biz back in 2005. That might sound like a criticism, and to a certain extent it is, but it equally is as a compliment to the developer Teon's work. The studio's latest licensed FPS following Terminator Resistance is a fine example of a AA game with an ambition that exceeds its budget and a sincerity that helps power through no small amount of work. Terminator Resistance is not one I had personally tried. I always meant to. I never got around to it, but unfortunately it came out and it got very middling reviews. It was not a very good game from what I understood. I mean, it did definitely give a bit of fan service, right? But unfortunately, it just was very buggy, very broken. It was a shorter experience and it was not worth the price tag, which is why I personally was a little bit worried about this RoboCop game. I had a feeling it was going to be in the same vein, maybe not, the best experience all around, but a good enough effort, right? It's not a AAA game, it's a AA game, so not quite indie, not quite AAA, but it sounds like it has exceeded everyone's expectations, and it says, taking place between RoboCops 2 and 3, Rogue City kicks off with a glorious statement of intent. A gang of crazed punks named the Torchheads take over Detroit's TV station to send a very public message to a new and mysterious crime lord in town, creatively referred to as the new guy in town. To prove it, they take a bunch of hostages. You have to kill everyone. The environment is a weapon too, letting you grab objects like chairs and computer monitors to toss at criminal creeps or wrap your metal fingers around their necks. But unfortunately, that's just not good enough, right? Good gameplay, pretty graphics, it's just not enough for these people because now they're saying it just unfortunately is too close to its original material. They say Rogue City's biggest problem, though, is that its new story isn't all that new. Thematically, the story covers much of the same ground as the original film, targeting corporate ownership of public institutions, the sweeping aside of the poor for gentrified districts, the shunting aside of human workers in favor of automated machines, and how greed and destitution leads to increases in crime and violence. All of this is fine, but it also repeats a lot of the plot points from the first two films, like OCP seeking to replace replace RoboCop with a new model, and Detroit PD threatening to strike over OCP's handling of the department. So they are saying that it is too accurate, okay, that it is too faithful, which is just one of the most absurd arguments that I have heard in a really long time. Of course, they throw in discussion here about real-world politics, saying things like the portrayal of Detroit PD as honest, hard-working, blue-collar workers struggling against budget constraints sits at a lot less of a comfortable spot in 2023 when we know U.S. police budgets are vastly overinflated compared to other public sectors. And to be clear, I'm not saying RoboCop should be wandering around Detroit shouting ACAB. Rather, in its strive to mimic the anti-corporate satire of the film, Rogue City misses an opportunity to ask another more pertinent question. So, of course, they're saying that this game isn't good because it didn't push the limits. They're saying that there's, still something in the message that is missing, that feels like it should be there, even though the game and the idea of RoboCop does encompass many of the ideologies that they want to push, but it's just an example of how they want to push everything to the extreme. They wanted more, and because this game lacks other messages they also believe in today, like for DEI, for example, there's not enough inclusivity or diversity. It's just not enough. No matter how far you go with a message that even resonates with them, it's never far enough, and they always want more. They say, well, we don't want RoboCop running around shouting ACAB, but they wouldn't have mentioned it if they weren't actively thinking about it. And that's the issue here, okay? You can see through what they're trying to do. Okay, game journalist hacks like this are constantly targeting games with police officers. I mean, even look, I covered it a few weeks ago. There were journalists who were mad because of Detective Pikachu saying, does Detective Pikachu fall under ACAB? Like, it's so absurd, but they're so obsessed with copganda, okay? Whenever a cop is in a game or a character that represents a cop, it is instantly trying to laser in on it, trying to find a way to either attack it, or if it, again, pushes the narratives they believe in, prop it up. And there is another article that is similar by Rock, Paper, Shotgun. It doesn't really go into, the conversation about cops, but it says it is a good RoboCop game, but a middling FPS that they just think could have been pushed a little bit further. But they also admit straight up that they're being transparent here. They never really got RoboCop, so they never had nostalgia or love for RoboCop. They simply are saying, well, as an outsider looking in, as someone without a lot of knowledge on RoboCop, I just think that they could have done more. Like, these people are absurd, because if you actually look at what fans of RoboCop are saying, everybody loves it. I mean, look at the store Steam page. As you can see, it is sitting at a very positive 95% of the user reviews for the game are positive, and my copy of the game has not come in yet. It's actually coming in today when I'm recording this, and I cannot wait to give this a chance and to play it, but it is sitting at a very positive to an overwhelmingly positive right now. I mean, real fans of RoboCop are enjoying this. Die Hard, Escape from New York, and Predator are all franchises that need to be licensed to these devs. They can capture the feeling of what the IPs are like and deserve a larger budget from their publisher. I do think that that was one of the issues with Terminator, is that it just did not have a big enough budget. And from what I'm hearing about this, yeah, if they had a slightly bigger budget, maybe some more time, it probably would have been a bit more polished, but they captured the essence of what RoboCop is, and they did fantastically. You might think I'm biased, but this is probably the best RoboCop game we are ever gonna get. Better to wait 35 years than to never get it at all. And of course, when we see, beloved franchises being rebooted or remastered, or in this case, just, made into a video game, we have a lot to worry about, right? Unfortunately, a lot of video game developers and just a lot of creatives in general cannot capture the essence of the original content that they are working with. They try to modernize things. I mean, there's a slew of different problems, but it's so good to see that they did so right with this game. I personally am so hyped for it. I mean, I already was pretty hyped for it, but after seeing the reviews, after seeing all the talk about it, I'm so much more excited for it. I cannot wait to finally play it, but everyone is saying it is a very solid portrayal of the movie, except for journalists who are saying it's just not good enough. These activist hacks are never happy, and now they are targeting RoboCop, saying it's too faithful for its own good. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.